BBC Radio 5 Live.
The voice of the UK.
Dotun Adebayo.
Listen live, pause, rewind and discover with the BBC Sounds app.
The world has seen a succession of extreme weather events in the recent weeks, which have led to losses of lives and habitats. They've included record-breaking rainfall, flooding, underground railway tunnels in China, the devastation brought by floods in Europe, and firefighters battling huge wildfires in Siberia, with scientists warning for many years that climate change would lead to more extreme weather events. It makes sense that all options to mitigate their impact are considered. Unlikely allies in California, a region threatened by wildfires every summer, have been found. A herd of goats. Alissa Cope, an environmental planner, restoration ecologist and founder of the SAGE environmental group in Southern California, can perhaps explain. Alissa, how on earth are goats being used in the struggle to contain at least wildfires?
Yes, thank you so much. It's actually a very traditional method. It's becoming more and more accepted and encouraged here in California now, using herbivores, which goats are, to eat vegetation that is highly flammable. And so a herd of goats can go out into a very dense vegetated area and reduce that fuel load down to 4 inches, where previously it was 14 feet high, in a matter of a few weeks, several weeks.
I can imagine that it makes a difference, but what difference? Are you able to summarize just how much of a difference it makes to
Yes.
to containing wildfires?
So in California, we have many cluster developments that are surrounded by wildlands. And so with the fire departments, there's a defensible space area around structures, which is generally 500 feet, that requires some kind of management so that the firefighters, in the event of a fire, can get in and try to protect those homes, protect loss. And so we bring the goats in prior to, as part of a long-term management strategy, to reduce that amount of vegetation within that. We call it the buffer area or the fuel modification area.
And do the goats have to be there permanently?
They come and they go. So they come in from spring until the fall, and they eat the vegetation. And then in the high fire season months, there really isn't that much to burn. So instead of it being 14-foot tall weeds, it's only about 4 feet tall. And so they come into an area, they address it, and then they can go to another area and do their work in a different area.
How many goats do you need to make that much of an impact?
We generally use a herd of 100 goats that we move around to address an area at a time. We have a total of 400, so we can work we like to work about 3 sites at a time. So we're moving from one area to another, and we just keep moving around and actually get quite a bit of acreage done that way.
Yeah, I can imagine that they get a lot of work at the moment. I can imagine, over the summer periods anyway.
They're very busy, and they're absolutely charming animals, and they have guardian dogs. We use Great Pyrenees dogs to protect them, and it's really quite a wonderful approach to managing vegetation.
Is there a case to argue that this could be part of the infrastructure of, farming, if you like, in the United States, in California in particular?
That's a good question. I think it can be incorporated as one of the many tools that can be used to address the fire threat in California. There are some other tools that are traditionally used, such as hand crews going out and mowing or weed whacking these areas. Goats are a very effective tool in that they don't just knock it down, they physically consume it. And then the weed seeds that they eat actually become non-viable. So over several seasons, you're really reducing the fire threat versus just controlling it. And I think that's an important distinction.
It is scrubland or forest management there. No, very effective, as you say. Alissa,
Yes.
thank you. I appreciate you
Yes,
telling us
thank
about
you.
it. It's an absolute pleasure. Alissa Cope there, an environmental planner, restoration ecologist and founder of the Sage Environmental Group in Southern California. It's win-win. I'm sure those goats aren't complaining.